and Sarah.
Good evening and welcome to the Newshour. I'm Madhavdas G. Ladies and gentlemen, the India bashing has reached new heights. From democracy khatre mein hai to minorities targeted, Rahul has launched a multi-pronged attack on the Modi Sarkar over the past 5 days, ever since his UK sojourn started. But today he took the fight a step further. Speaking to former US Undersecretary of State and Harvard University Professor Nicholas Burns, he questioned why the crusaders of democracy, namely US and EU, are in oblivion of the fact that a huge chunk of democracy model has been undone in India. Listen into Rahul Gandhi.
The surprising thing is that the so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious that a huge chunk of the democratic model has come undone, right? Which is a real problem with regards to, and frankly, the opposition is fighting that battle, right? And it's not just an Indian battle. It's actually a much more important battle. It is a battle for a huge part of the democratic people on this planet.
Remember, this is not the first time an opposition has batted for foreign intervention pertaining to India's internal matters. In December last year, the TMC wrote to the Vatican against the Assam Church Survey Order, calling it equivalent to state-sponsored persecution of Christians. In 2021, Rahul Gandhi had said that he wanted to know the US establishment's views on what is going on in India. In 2019, Mamata Banerjee dared the BJP to go for a UN-monitored referendum on the matter. We've been monitoring it since 1948. Now, slamming Rahul's Videshi Bharat bashing agenda, the BJP has branded the Wayanad MP as a constant cynic and purveyor of propaganda. The opposition, on the other hand, asked why is the BJP fuming when it had berated India when it was in opposition. Listen in.
मुझे लगता है अपनी नाकामियों को छिपाने के लिए एक सुनियोजित तरीके से विदेशी सरजमीन से राहुल गांधी जी ने भारत को बदनाम करने का ठेका ले रखा है। उनकी भाषा, उनके विचार, उनकी कार्यशैली सब कुछ संदिग्ध सी है।
So Anurag Thakur should be the last person to talk on poverty in public life. I think the big problem right now is that the BJP has not even cared to listen to Rahul Gandhi's lecture. Actually insisted that Indian democracy is a public good. What part of that is disrespecting or defaming the country? Mr. Modi, whether it was in Shanghai or Seoul or Abu Dhabi or Oman or Toronto or the US or UK, the kind of stuff that he has said against India, he has actually on Chinese soil said, लोग सोचते थे कि हमने क्या पाप किया, हम हिंदुस्तान में पैदा हुए. Mr. Modi should apologize.
राहुल गांधी का जो वक्तव्य सामने निकल कर आया है ब्रिटेन की भूमि से, और वो भी उस समय पर जब भारत आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव मना रहा है, 75 वर्ष मना रहा है स्वतंत्रता का, और उस भूमि पर जाकर जिस देश ने भारत पर वर्षों तक हुकूमत की, उस देश पर जाकर जो वक्तव्य राहुल गांधी का आया है, वो व्यक्ति विरोध में किस प्रकार से आज राहुल गांधी देश विरोध पर उतर आए हैं, उसका सबसे बड़ा प्रमाण सामने निकल कर आया है।
नरेंद्र मोदी जी जब गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री थे तो करीब 3 दर्जन भाषण उनके मेरे पास हैं। मैं किरण रिजिजू साहब को भेज दूंगा व्हाट्सएप पे, जिसमें मोदी जी सीबीआई के ऊपर खूब सवाल उठा रहे हैं और बता रहे हैं सीबीआई जो है कांग्रेस के इशारे पर काम करती है। तो क्या उस वक्त प्रधानमंत्री जी एंटी इंडिया थे?
But as Rahul's argument hold water, it's important to note that US President last year had said that PM Modi's success has proven that democracies can deliver. EU President Ursula von der Leyen has termed that India and EU share common values as both are vibrant democracies. Antony Blinken too in 2021 had said that India has the largest expression of free political world in the world. That brings me to the legitimate question that we're asking this evening. India's democracy is an example for world but dead for rivals.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us for more on this, we have with us Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP. Suhail Seth is a columnist who joins us. Manish Bariyar is a political analyst as well. Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress, joins us as the Sanjay Jha author. Ravi Srivastava is a political analyst also with us on the panel. Let me start with Suhail Seth. Suhail Seth, you know, one can understand that one may have problems. Perhaps no democracy is perfect. There could potentially be flaws. But today, what Rahul Gandhi has done is, while questioning the EU and the US's silence, why are we making them stakeholders in India's democratic process? What's the precedent being set here?
So, I totally agree with you. Everyone's allowed an opinion. Everyone can criticize, critique, have a comment to make. But when you drag other countries into what is normally a sovereign play, then you try and decimate, denigrate, and be very disgusting towards your own nation. Look, I have no issues if Rahul Gandhi believes we're not a democracy. The hypocrisy apart and the illogicality of what he says apart, he's allowed his opinion. But when you then say that you want the United States of America and the European Union to intervene, that to my mind borders on the treasonous. That is unacceptable. Because then you are doing two things. Number one, you're doubting the capability of the institutions prevalent in our country to sort out these issues. And number two, what kind of a member of parliament are you? If you genuinely believe we don't have a democracy, resign. If you genuinely believe that this is not the democracy that you choose to have, then don't live in members of parliament accommodation. I mean, you are talking about democracy when you couldn't even have democracy in your own party. And look, I'm not bothered about the Congress or the BJP. For me, I have only two standards. Number one, when you're overseas, you back for your country no matter what. And you back for your country not blindly, not with deafness. You back with your country through logic. If Rahul Gandhi had said that I believe that certain quarters feel democracy is under threat, fine. But to tell the world that every Indian believes that he or she does not live in a democratic India, to my mind is reprehensible.
Absolutely.
You have states that you control.
Yes.
Those states have been democratically elected. I mean, what logic is this man employing every time? I'm amazed at his sheer lack of intellect. Forget his lack of integrity and even more so the lack of Indianness.
Let me bring in Sanjay Jha on that. Sanjay Jha, very strong words used by Suhail Seth, because questions are, the statement is bound to be problematic. Because at the end of the day, what are we looking for? Are we looking at the white man coming and giving us approval again? That he has to comment that this is really, that is going to be the ultimate comment for people to pay attention for. What kind of a comment was that, Sanjay Jha?
Madhav, I will make two short points. Point number one, if anybody is humiliated, insulted, and brought mortification to India on a foreign soil, it is the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, who went in Seoul or even for that matter in China and said Indians were ashamed to feel like Indians before 2014. And Madhav, that could include, your parents, our grandparents, parents who have voted for the Congress. It mocks India scientists. It mocks everybody on this panel I can see now. It mocks you. It mocks Times Now. It mocks everybody who sacrificed their life for this country. It mocks industry, business, entrepreneurs. This was the Prime Minister of India. Now let me come to the core point of what Rahul Gandhi has been accused of. Here, this is an interesting thing that I've never understood, that the BJP tries to say, if you criticize on foreign soil, you're becoming very anti-national. Well, for God's sake, ladies and gentlemen, we live in the world of social media. If Rahul Gandhi had made the same comments on a Times Now interview, it would be on Washington Post, New York Times, and The Guardian at the same time. It doesn't make a difference where you say, as long as
you've not answered the larger question, Sanjay.
As long as you're speaking the truth. And Rahul Gandhi is called a spade, and that is how to
Sanjay,
the point of discussion here. Point of discussion, Sanjay, is invoking US and EU. You've not answered that question.
I totally agree with everything Sanjay has said.
The question of the US and the UK.
I agree with Sanjay.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, two rights don't make a wrong. If the Prime Minister of this country has mocked India, that is equally reprehensible. My comment is, should he have asked to invoke the intervention of the United States and the European Union?
Quick response.
That's my limited point.
All right, quick response, Sanjay, and then I move on to other panelists. Yes, quick response, Sanjay.
This was, by the way, not Rahul Gandhi talking. This has become a conversation point across media. I've read several articles on it, because when the BBC was raided, and BBC, by the way, is still considered to be one of the most respectable media brands globally. It definitely, in my opinion, is a more reliable brand than the BJP can ever hope to be in its life. time. And when the BJP, when the BBC was being raided by the BJP government, the silence of the US, which called itself the grandmother of democracy, the UK government itself, Rishi Sunak, kept a luminous silence, was appalling. And I think that is a very valid point that
let me bring in Sanju Verma on that point. Because questions have been raised of the Prime Minister, questions are being raised on the BBC raid. Well, I'm coming to you as well. The others also on the panel, please let me quickly go across to all of them as well. Sanju Verma, two direct points. Sanjay Jha says it's the PM who has denigrated India abroad. And secondly, he says this is happening in the context of the BBC raids. Please respond to both those points.
Thank you. Madhav, let me first, put a couple of points out there in the public domain. First and foremost, for anybody from the Congress, be it Sanjay Jha or otherwise, to wax eloquent about how India's democracy is being undermined is a bit too rich. And I'll tell you why. The whole narrative that Rahul Gandhi has been peddling at Cambridge and in the UK is that democratic institutions in India are being smothered. And I'll tell Rahul Gandhi through your channel that democracy was in danger when the First Amendment was passed under Nehru in 1951, curbing free speech. Democracy was smothered in 1975 when his grandmother Indira Gandhi imposed the notorious emergency. Democracy was smothered in 1976 when Indira Gandhi passed the 42nd Amendment to curb the power of judicial review of Indian courts. Democracy was smothered in 1988 when Rajiv Gandhi surreptitiously tried to pass the Anti-Defamation Bill. Democracy was smothered in 2013 when the Manmohan-Sonia duo tried to demonize Hindus by passing the Communal Violence Bill. Thank God that it never saw the light of the day. Democracy was smothered when for 20 long years, the current Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and the ex-Chief Minister of Gujarat, he was hounded for 20 long years, and even after the historic verdict in June 2022 by the Supreme Court giving him an unconditional clean chit, what did the Congress do? Barely within 24 hours of that historic verdict, you saw the Congress darbaris like Ajay Maken and Jairam Ramesh going to Jantar. Next 10 years, the next 100 years belong to India. What did Ray Dalio? He is supposed to be the biggest investor after Warren Buffett. He said that India's transformation under Narendra Modi is a textbook case of what excellence in leadership is all about. What did Bill Gates recently say 72 hours back? He said that Modi's digital infrastructure and social infrastructure push is commendable. What did Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, say? Right. He said that India's vaccination drive is a textbook case of how crisis management needs to be undertaken. What did Klaus Schwab, the head of World Economic Forum at Davos, said? Okay. I quote him. He said, "We need Narendra Modi in a fractious geopolitical world." So for Sanjay, let me take that question. So there are a number of statements, and in fact, just to add, one second, I just want to add to what you're saying because this is very important. And yeah, just hang on. You made a number of points, and I want to get in a response from this point, particularly, comments that have been made by Antony Blinken, Ursula von der Leyen, and Joe Biden, which Ravi Srivastava, these are global leaders, and these are global leaders who are from democracies who are commenting on India's democracy, and they have, at least in their comments, spoken about the vibrancy of Indian democracy. Are all of those global leaders then wrong? Is that the frustration that's showing in Mr. Rahul Gandhi's statement?
There is. I think that statement of Rahul Gandhi has not been understood by the people, and it's wrong notion altogether, and give it a narrative that he spoke against India. He did not. He only said the word oblivious. Oblivious is you are watching it. You are simply watching it. He did not call for any interference into India's affairs. Another thing is about that, I will talk only about one factor, is the China policy. Well, what kind of India's foreign policy as a cowardice? The MEA, as Jai Shankar says, China is a stronger economy. We cannot pick up any quarrel with them. What is this? What kind of statement is this? And if you talk about the interference, what our Prime Minister was doing in US, asking the vote for Donald Trump. Abki baar Donald Trump sarkar. And you are asking that they are interfering in our affairs. So I think BJP should look into its own and see to it that what their Prime Minister was talking on the foreign land, saying India has not progressed for 70 years. Progress has started only after by taking over. If Rahul Gandhi is raking up some valid questions, I don't find anything wrong in it. And democracy is dead is a valid statement altogether.
Okay, Sanju Verma, quick response. It is. We have also intervened in the affairs of other countries, says Ravi Srivastava. Please respond to him.
Madhav, with no offense to none, I will just say this, that if I were to ask Rahul Gandhi or any of his darbaris the difference between Europe, European Union, the European Commission and the Eurozone, I'm sure they will cut a sorry figure, and Ravi Srivastava does not know the difference between Eurozone and European Union. So I will let that pass and come to the moot point. Rahul Gandhi
let's not make personal comments. I'm requesting everyone, one second. Just 1 second. I want both of you to just pause. Let's not make personal comments, please. I'm requesting everyone, 1 second. Ravi Srivastava, calm down. Ravi Srivastava, please calm down for a minute. Ravi Srivastava, please calm down. I am requesting everyone not to make personal comments, please. Let's keep this civil. There are very important issues that we are discussing. Let's keep our cool. Let's not lose our cool. No personal comments, please. Now continue, Sanju Verma.
Thank you. Madhav, I don't think I made a personal comment because on Times Now, I see many of the panelists from the other side 24/7 abusing the Prime Minister, sometimes sugarcoating their words. And if I just called out the bluff of some of these darbaris, they need to learn to digest the hard truth. I will now tell you what is wrong with Rahul Gandhi's statement. He categorically said that 2,000 square kilometers of Indian territory has been usurped by the Chinese. This despite the fact that Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah and EAMS Jaishankar have categorically said that not an inch of territory has been usurped. I would like to ask Rahul Gandhi, besides questioning the Modi government, can you also come clean on the 2008 MOU signed between your mother, Sonia Gandhi, and the then Chinese establishment?
Okay.
Can you come clean on the fact that 38,000 square kilometers of Chinese territory was handed over on a golden platter by your great-grandfather Jawaharlal Nehru?
I think
why is Rahul Gandhi singing the Chinese tune all the time?
We're veering a bit off topic. We are veering a bit off topic, Sanju Verma, but you have asked specific questions of the Congress. I'm going to allow Sanjay Jha to respond to at least one of those. Sanjay Jha, quick response, please.
Very quick response, Madhav. Thanks for calling me in here. Anthony Blinken also said that religious freedom in India is under threat under Mr. Modi's government. That is the other truth that the BJP needs to hear instead of doing cherry picking. The second point, Madhav, that we cannot ignore hard data submitted in Parliament. 12 lakh Indians since Mr. Modi became Prime Minister have given up citizenship and left our country. And they include dollar millionaires. When Mr. Modi humiliated his own country in Seoul, you know what he said? People are coming back. Earlier people used to leave India. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, through the medium of a very popular channel called Times Now, let me tell you that you today stand what you call as a face palm moment for you. Indians are leaving our country because they are happier abroad, because they fear for their security, they fear discrimination, and they are very, very upset with the
problem with you is your own party does not care
that is polarizing society
and wax eloquent about the Rahul Gandhi magic. Unfortunately, Rahul Gandhi is a union of neurons with a neurotransmitter missing.
Okay.
Rahul Gandhi is a union of neurons with the neurotransmitter missing. That is why he waxes eloquent on everything that is only a figment of his imagination. How does he know 2,000 square kilometers of Indian territory have been usurped?
मैडम आप जरा ये बता दीजिए कि गौतम अदानी और प्रधानमंत्री का क्या रिश्ता है?
Let me tell you, Sanjay Jha, Madhav,
जरा गौतम अदानी और प्रधानमंत्री का रिश्ता क्या ये बता दो?
Now, Mr. Jha, you quoted Anthony Blinken. I want to ask you one simple thing.
एक शब्द कहिए ना.
sent more than 20 crore vaccines to over 150 countries, and it has been applauded from the IMF to the World Bank.
Madam, it is alleged that 4 million people died from the COVID.
That Narendra Modi's leadership
it is alleged that 4 million people died on the COVID in India.
Let me just come in here.
International Monetary Fund.
Let me just come in here now. Let me just come in here.
Narendra Modi's leadership
Yes.
Saved the world during the pandemic.
Okay, Sanju Verma, the only problem is we are discussing democracy. We're not discussing governance per se. We are discussing democracy. I want to come back to the entire point of democracy. So we'll say it, and we have Manish Barrier also who has not yet spoken. Let me quickly bring in Manish and Lokesh Jindal. Manish Barrier, how are you looking at this entire debate? Because here you have a situation where, in fact, repeatedly questions are coming in. The opposition repeatedly says that no, it's not Rahul Gandhi, but it is the powers that be, union ministers, the Prime Minister, all going out commenting on domestic politics. The precedent has been set by the powers that be in the government.
Yeah, so good evening to all of you. So I would say that yes, there's nothing wrong in going abroad and actually speaking your mind. I don't think that is a big issue as such. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll just take 2 minute time of yours. So the first meeting of his was in Judge Business School at Cambridge. Now, if you look at, that's a business school. Now, there was a very good opportunity for Rahul Gandhi to present a vision for future. He's much younger than the present, Prime Minister, and he could have actually used that opportunity to speak a lot of positive points also. So where I can criticize Rahul Gandhi ji is that what he has been speaking during Yatra, what he has been speaking within the country, he has spoken exactly very similar things out there. So it's a lost opportunity for me. Those places are places of wisdom. Those places are also places where there is a cultural potpourri. So they would like to hear something which is more inclusive in nature. And therefore, obviously, Rahul Gandhi is also called out there, elite institution. But he didn't really present a future for India, which Indian youths, why do you go there and speak? You go there and speak because you want to send a message to the country. Back to the country, people give more importance when you go to places like Cambridge.
Okay.
We are still, we have a mindset which is a colonial mindset for sure. Anyway, these are elite institutions. He lost that opportunity. Mm-hmm. The second place where he went was IJA. Now, again, Mr. Khan, who is a Congress sympathizer, again, he spoke to congressmen. So most of the people who are there were Congress supporters. In fact, all of them were Congress supporters. Again, he spoke very similar things. I didn't see any difference between what he spoke at Cambridge and the topics which he has covered at IJA meeting.
So what's the point?
So
yes.
What I'm saying, I'm sorry, let me complete. What I'm saying is that why doesn't he use these opportunities to create an alternative vision for India?
Okay.
Which can really, he can come out as a leader.
I got your point.
Sense.
I got the point you're trying to put across. But let's quickly listen. I just want to show our viewers this one very important clip. A well-wisher, in fact, stumped Rahul Gandhi on the 4th of March. A man from the audience praised Nehru and Indira Gandhi, but also cautioned Rahul to follow the footsteps of his grandmother when it comes to not defaming India on foreign soil. Listen to this conversation.
I knew your grandmother, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, through Bal Sahyog in India. Okay. Because I was working from 58 to 61 for All India Radio. And then your great-grandfather, Pandit Nehru, through Bharat Yuva Samaj.
You met him?
Yes, I met him. I used to go to Trimurti House to get their signatures, etc. Okay. Because I had a bicycle, and they were just near All India Radio, all these organizations.
So what was your experience in meeting him? What did you think?
Pandit Nehru was a great man. I always touched his feet, and he in London, after being imprisoned by Morarji Desai, a journalist asked her, "What is your experience of prison in India?" And she said, "I don't want to talk anything bad about India in this conference. Now you are being constantly attacked in the Indian media for your Cambridge lecture. I hope that you will take some lesson from what Mrs. Indira Gandhi said, because I am your well-wisher."
Okay, I am your well-wisher. Some words of advice coming there for Rahul Gandhi. Do you think that those are some advices that perhaps Lokesh Jindal, Rahul Gandhi should be adhering to, at least coming as they are from a well-wisher of his?
Madhav, we live in an era where social media is prevalent. We have more than 153 embassies. So there's nothing that is hidden from the world. Come on, we have a report, Hindenburg report, agency in US, which is exposing scams in India. So don't think that there is anything hidden globally. In fact, India's democratic ranking has dwindled with respect to IEIU Democratic Index. We are termed as flawed democracy. It is 53rd. And look at the grassroots reality. This winter 2022 session was the 8th consecutive session when the parliament was adjourned.
So EU and US
schedule.
commenting on it would.
So when I'm saying that we are dwindling with respect to press freedom index, with respect to number of sittings that the parliament it functions, with respect to number of hours it is functioning, with respect to the adjournment that is taking place, and also the misuse of institutions so as to achieve political end, and then we are having all forms of interference upon independence of judiciary. Come on, what do you expect? Isn't our democracy flawed? Where rule of law, theory of checks and balances.
But how is the US or EU commenting on it going to change things? Isn't it for us here in India to work and improve the system, sir? Isn't it for opposition leaders to take up the issues, take them to the people, get people to vote on it if you feel that the issues are so serious? How does a EU or a US commenting change that?
No, that's what Bharat Jodo Yatra was for.
Yes.
And when you are at a global platform, if the global audience wants you to hear what exactly was Bharat Jodo Yatra for, so you cannot be hypocritical. You cannot say that everything
I want Suhail to comment on this. I want Suhail to respond. Suhail, Bharat Jodo Yatra was the answer, and perhaps he has every right to take out a yatra like that.
1 minute.
But what is the international aspect is still not explained.
So I haven't interrupted anyone. I just want some time to explain something very serious. The India of today has changed. For better or worse, it has changed. The average Indian has shed his colonialism and has shed the respect for colonialism. And there's more muscularity about India's place in the comity of nations. We don't care about the West, or this is what we want to believe. Also, the average Indian of today is far prouder of his country than he was earlier. Whether he had reasons to be ashamed or not, I'm not getting into that debate. Today, what Rahul Gandhi has done is gone, to my mind, against the grain of what Indian thought is, which eventually he needs to understand if he wants to win an election in India. The Indian of today does not want his country to be denigrated, and he's not thinking logically all the time. He's not thinking factually all the time. Some of the points that Sanjay Jha made, or Manish made, or whoever made, Mr. Srivastava made. The point today is, let's look at the reality. This is a new India. It's a different India. It's an India which at times is arrogant. It's an India which at times is confident. It's an India which at times says, to hell with the West. Then when you say that I want the United States to intervene and the European Union to intervene, you hurt national pride. When you hurt national pride, you hurt the pride of Indians. These are people who are going to vote for you in India, and you hurt the pride of the Indian diaspora. Because they say, wow, we live in the United States. Biden kaun hota hai ki hamare desh ko democracy sikhaye? That's point number one. Point number two, I think Sanjay misunderstood, or whoever misunderstood my opening remarks. I said everyone has the right to criticize. Everyone has the right to critique. Understand what Narayan Murthy once said. He says you can disagree without being disagreeable. Rahul Gandhi is coming across as negative in every utterance. It's almost as if he hates everything. It's almost as if he believes everything is wrong with India. He has no faith in anything that's Indian. Or that is the perception. That, to my mind, trust me, Madhav, needs to change if they want to win an election. When you want to win an election, you've got to win the hearts and the minds of people. You may be factual, but if you don't win their hearts, then there's a problem. Finally, I will say, and Sanjay, I think, alluded to it, for the last 10, 11 years, the politics of our country has been formed on abuse and debasement. That needs to change.
Absolutely.
It is a borderless world. Someone, I think, on your program mentioned social media. It is a borderless world. We need to be more responsible about our utterances, and we need to buttress them with facts rather just with gut feelings which are born out of anger, strife, and hatred.
All right, very important points you made over there, and I think at least on the last point I completely agree with you. I'm going to allow Ravi a quick chance to come in. Sanjay, I'm coming to you. Ravi, quick chance to Ravi to respond to the points that have been made by Suhail Seth.
I have only one quick point to make, that Rahul Gandhi, in his Cambridge speech, he did appreciate India's Jan Dhan Yojana and Ujjwala Yojana. Let us see the bright spark also. If something is good, he did appreciate that. Second issue here is that Rahul Gandhi, when in the foreign soil, he's talking about the strength. He's talking about the BBC attack. The BBC chapa there. You know, somebody opposes you and you are rating his headquarters in Delhi and Bombay. What is this? I mean, this is what in that reference he said, why the West is oblivious to the happenings in India and how the democracy is being screwed.
Okay, quick response.
Madhav?
Quick response, yes, quick response, Sanju. We are ignoring the fact that he did praise the government also.
Madhav, my quick rebuttal to the various comments that have been made, including that of Ravi Srivastava, is this. You know, every time somebody says that, you know, we've gone down on the freedom index, on the free speech index, on the human rights index, because that is a reference that keeps coming up repeatedly for no rhyme or reason, I will quickly tell you, have you seen Rahul Gandhi in the last couple of months, even once tweeting about the fact, and he tweets on everything under the sun, mind you, that India today has surpassed the United Kingdom to become the 5th largest economy in the world in terms of nominal GDP, in excess of $3.2 trillion is where we stand at. Point number one, we are from 142nd rank in 2013, now at 63 in terms of ease of doing business, up 79 notches. We were at 76th position in terms of global innovation ranking in 2013. Now we are at 40th. We were at 79th position in terms of global competitiveness ranking. We are now at 37th. The Global Minority Report, which was released a few weeks back, placed us at number 1 from a survey of 110 countries saying India is the safest place for minorities. Did you see Rahul Gandhi or anybody from the ecosystem, the Darbaris, crowing about it? No. And I'll tell you something more in 10 seconds. Today, India has the 6th largest stock exchange in the world in terms of market capitalization. We are the 4th largest automobile producer in the world. We are the 2nd largest two-wheeler manufacturer in the world. We are the largest manufacturers of smartphones. The largest chopper factory is coming up at Bengaluru, and it will be put in place by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, the largest in Asia.
Right.
Samsung has the largest.
You know, Sanju, believe whether Rahul Gandhi is correct or wrong, I'm not here to judge, but whether he should have raised the point of other countries coming. I think that is moot in today's debate. And I want to bring in Sanjay on that point, because Sanjay, a couple of points that you made as well, and Sohail Seth has raised them. He says that you're missing the wood for the trees. No one's questioning Mr. Rahul Gandhi's choice on whether he wants to question the government or not, but whether he should have asked for approval of other countries at a time when this is something that, you know, is akin to hurting national pride and what is the national sentiment today.
Madhav, for the record, it is important to say this very explicitly, unambiguously. Rahul Gandhi has not said that any foreign government needs to actually be interventionist in India's domestic affairs. Not at all. I think the point is larger.
Silence, sir. Yeah. Hasn't he questioned the silence? EU and US's silence?
Do all of us here live in India, right? We may differ. Madam Verma and I differ in terms of a political ideology. But I will never doubt her commitment to patriotism, or she should never doubt my commitment to my own nationalism. We are all fighting for India through different trajectories. The answer is this. We in India are abused every time when you question the government or the Prime Minister, you call anti-national. Now this is becoming a deadly virus for this government. BBC is anti-national, George Soros is anti-national, Hindenburg Research is anti-national. I mean, they are making a fool of themselves and damaging India's reputational capital. If you're so thin-skinned, if the heat is too much in the kitchen, step out. You are not fit to be managing a great democracy like India. You're mocking this great country. And I think you all deserve a better government. Because
quick response.
Damage to India's reputation.
Quick response from Sanju. We're almost out of time. Quick response, please. Sanju, 30 seconds.
You know, I will just respond. वजीर होता है, राजा भी कभी फकीर होता है, पर स्वतंत्र वही होता है यारो, स्वतंत्र वही होता है यारो, जिसमें आज भी जिंदा ज़मीर होता है, जिसमें आज भी जिंदा ज़मीर होता है. So let's not lose sight of our political morality, if any. That is my message to Rahul Gandhi, who is deviant and devious.
Okay. I think we'll have to end the name calling there at some level. I think that's also something that our collective Zamirs should be considering. But on that poetic note, let me wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much, Sanju Verma, Sohail Seth, Manish Bharia, Lokesh Jindal, Sanjay Jha, and Ravi Srivastava for joining us this evening. I'd also like to quickly correct myself, because we had inadvertently said that Rahul Gandhi made the remark alluding to foreign foreign intervention while speaking to former U.S. Undersecretary of State Nicholas Burns. Actually, he made the remark during the interaction with the Indian Journalists Association in London on March 4th. We apologize for that particular error. And moving on to debate number 2.